Hey guys, Josh here and welcome back to Story of Seasons Pioneers of Olive Town, and in today's video I would like to tell you about 5 beginner mistakes that either I have made when I started playing the game or I've heard other people made, and the sooner you learn about these mistakes, the easier the game will be for you. So I really hope you'll find these tips useful, and let's just jump into it. Alright, so the very first mistake to avoid is to sell all of your wild flowers. I know it is quite tempting at the beginning of the game, but especially these 4 right here, so the Moondrop, Pink Cat, Magic Blue, and Magic Red, you will need them to craft the honey maker. So you just need 3 of these to craft 1 maker, but you can have up to 20 beehives on your farm, so ideally you would like to have 20 honey makers if you want to be able to be as productive as you can. And as you can see, it's still something I have to work on. I only have 6 right here, and I'm short on moondrops. Actually, the moondrops only spawn in the first area of your farm, and my first area is kind of heavily decorated, so there's not too much space for the moondrops to spawn right now. But if you really need some moondrops, there's one other way to get them. So if you come to the Sprite Village and you check the shop, you should be able to get some moondrop here. There are 50 coins each, so they're not too expensive, but it's gonna get expensive if you want to make a lot of makers. And when you unlock the big honey makers, you will see that they actually cost 50 of each flower. So yeah, especially these 4 flowers right here, make sure you keep them until you have all of the honey makers that you want. So while it is generally a good idea to hoard and keep your things as much as possible, as most of everything you will need for crafting at some point, it could also be a mistake to just hoard too much and not sell anything, because there are some materials that when you sell, they will become available at the general store. So for example, all of the different logs, as well as grass and ores and wools. So there are so many items that once you sell them, you just need to sell them once. You put them in your shipping bin, and the next day they will become available at the general store. So if you're ever short on one type of wood and you need something quickly, you can buy it there. Of course, some are really expensive, such as the mirage wood or the orichalcum, which is 50,000 G, but when you have a lot of money, it can be helpful if you need something very last minute. So yeah, I definitely recommend you do that. And the same goes for seeds. So for example, in winter, you're gonna find wild leek. And if you sell 1 wild leek, after that, you're gonna be able to buy the seeds. And it is the most valuable crop in this game. It actually only takes 4 days to grow, so it is a lot of work if you want to plant them during the whole season. But it is the most valuable crop in the game, so it's gonna make you a lot of money. And it's the same for the mushroom spores. So you need to sell the mushrooms if you want to be able to buy the spores. And once again, mushrooms are a good way to make money. So yeah, don't hoard too much. Make sure you sell at least 1 of everything. So while we're speaking of materials, one other mistake would be to start decorating your farm too early. So as you may know, the farm is divided into 3 areas, and each resource will spawn in a specific area. And of course, it can be tempting at first to put paths everywhere because there's just so many trees and rocks and you want to get rid of them. However, I've heard of people who just decorated their first area very quickly, and then they were just not able to get the regular wood, or they decorated the second area and they were not able to get hardwood anymore. So I definitely recommend you wait a little bit before decorating your farm too much. Otherwise, it's going to make it very, very difficult to gather resources and also to level up your skills. And actually, these 4 skills here, so the wood cutting, the grass cutting, the draining, and the mining, once you reach level 9 in each of them, you will unlock a special area. And each one of these areas, these resources will spawn every day. So you're going to be able to go there and gather these resources very easily. So there's 1 area for wood cutting. There's 1 area for the grass. There's 1 big pond actually for the water where you can drain the big pond and get more treasures. But that's not as useful. But anyway, there it is. And there's a spot for the mining as well, which is my favorite area. So yeah, just before you place too many paths and too much stuff on your farm, as you can see right here, I don't have that much wild things that are growing. Maybe I would recommend to try to reach level 9. It's just gonna make everything so much easier for you. So the next mistake is kind of similar, but it is forgetting to cut the mirage wood. So to repair this hydroponic plant, and also for the last house expansion and a few other things, you're gonna need a lot of mirage planks. And the only place this mirage wood spawns on your farm is in this area here, and it takes a long time to grow, and you're really not gonna get a lot. So as soon as you see these trees growing, just cut them so new ones can spawn. And even though you won't need it right away when you unlock the 3rd area, Like, you really do need to come here as often as you can just to check and cut the wood when it grows. Of course, once you've reached level 9 of wood cutting, you're gonna unlock the area I was talking about earlier, and you're gonna be able to find the mirage wood over there as well. But it's just a good habit to come here as often as you can and just check if there's any new wood. And of course, also the mirage grass is important as well. Not as important as the wood, but yeah, check the grass and the mirage wood. So now that we know the mirage wood is quite important in the end game, there's also one other important resources that's even harder to get by, and it is the orichalcum. So the other mistake, and I did this one quite a lot unfortunately, is to get very excited as soon as you start getting your first orichalcum and to put them into these small ingot makers. Because as you can see, if you put orichalcum in a small maker, well, I don't have enough now, but if you put orichalcum in the small ingot maker, you're gonna put 5 and it's just gonna give you 1 ingot. But if you put them in the large ingot maker, you're gonna put 10 and you're gonna get 3, so it's 1.5 more efficient. And orichalcum is so hard to get by, even in the end game, even after you reach level 9 and you unlock the mining area, it is still very rare and very hard to get. So make sure you hold onto your orichalcum. Don't never put your orichalcum into these small ingots until you unlock the big ingot maker. And the way to unlock the big ingot maker, so when you reach level 10 in mining, you will unlock the recipe, but you'll also get a title. So if you go to the city hall, you're actually gonna get a free one. So take that free one and just keep it for orichalcum, and you're just gonna be able to make your ingots so much easier. Alright, so the next mistake is to plant too many trees early in the game, like in the first year. This also depends on what kind of player you are, but for me, I want my farm to look as aesthetically pleasing as I can. Of course, it's still a work in progress, so there's a lot to do, but I didn't plant any trees in my first year because I knew that I would change my farm layout quite a lot, right? And the trees, like your fruit trees, there's no way to move them, so you cannot just pick them up and put them somewhere, right? If you want to move them, you have to cut them and grow them from the beginning, and the seeds are kind of expensive, especially like in the first year when you're not making that much money. So what I would recommend, maybe in the first year, buy some tree seeds if you want. You can also maybe make a little orchard if you'd like, but if you're planning to like put little trees around your streets and like make pretty things with trees, I would say just maybe hold onto this a little bit. Otherwise, you're gonna go in the second year and in the third year, and you're gonna want to move everything around, and you're gonna have to cut all of your beautiful fruit trees. Yeah, I would say maybe just wait a little bit until you're sure of the layout of your farm before you buy trees. And also, one other little tip for trees is that while they only bear fruits in one specific season each, you can plant them in any season. So if, for example, apple trees make fruits in autumn, but even though it's winter now, I could plant an apple tree and it would still grow. It takes 15 days to grow. So you don't have to wait for the specific season to plant the trees. So what I would recommend doing, maybe the first year you can buy some seeds, and then in the second year, maybe 15 days before the season, you can start planting them when you kind of have an idea of the layout that you want. So when so for example, if you plant some banana trees in spring, well, then in summer you're already gonna have these beautiful banana trees and you can start getting fruits as soon as the season starts. All right, so the next mistake is to not make enough bricks. So at the beginning, you might be thinking that bricks are just for decorating, right? Just to make little paths and fences, and if just a few other recipes need a little bit of bricks. So you might not be very tempted to make lots of bricks. However, when you unlock the third area and you get this hydroponic plant, you will see that if you want to repair it, you will need 20 draining pumps. And the draining pumps, they require 5 silver each, which is not too bad, and 10 bricks each. So getting clay is not a problem. You get it very easily from the puddles, but basically you're gonna need over 200 bricks if you want to make all of these draining pumps. And the last thing you want to do is to be there and you've got all of your orichalcum, you've got all of your mirage wood and olive crystals, and you don't have the pumps yet. So yeah, as you can see, I have all of my pumps ready in advance. I'm just missing some orichalcum. But yeah, make sure from the beginning of the game, always have at least 1 or 2 brick makers running. Actually, all of your ingot makers, all of your plank makers, all of your brick makers, always keep them. These are the most important to always keep running because you will always need these resources. Alright, so the next mistake is one that I really regret doing. So when I started playing the game, I had no idea what kind of items would be in the museum, what were all different animal types you could find, and also I didn't know that you could not move stuff around your museum after you place them. At least as of now in version 1.0.3, there's no way to move your items, so once you place them somewhere, they are stuck there forever. So as you can see here, I wasn't sure how many birds were in the game, so I decided to put little birds here, and then I decided to put the butterfly here, and now I have one butterfly here and one butterfly there, and I just like to have my things organized, and I feel like this is just messing everything up. So for example, here I have the little brown stoat, and here I have the white one. And I didn't know there would be a white one, so I just put this one here, and then I had to put the white one there, but I just wish I had put them together. So just one little tip is maybe before you start giving pictures to the museum for your animals, maybe you can grab a little piece of paper and make a little plan of the museum with the 21 little squares right here, and maybe you can take a look at the list of all of the animals in the game. I'll try to put some in the description so you guys can see, but yeah, maybe you can grab a little sheet of paper and try to make a little plan for a museum so you put everything at the right place and you don't end up with a messy museum like mine. Alright, so the next mistake is never using your watering can at the beginning of the game. So of course right now I have all of these beautiful improved sprinklers, but right when you unlock the small sprinklers, it could be very tempting to just stop using the watering can and use the small sprinklers everywhere. However, the watering can when watering your crops is one very good way of improving your fieldwork skill. Of course, your skill will also improve when you harvest your crops and when you till the soil, but if you water your crops on top of that, your skills are just gonna improve way faster. And there's so many reasons why you want your fieldwork skills to improve as fast as possible. Is that not only when you level up, the quality of your crops is gonna go higher, but also when you reach level 8, you will unlock these improved sprinklers that can water 5 by 5 instead of 3 by 3, so they're way more efficient. So honestly, what I would recommend is maybe you can even skip the small sprinklers and just upgrade your watering can and water your crops until you get to level 8. Then you get these big sprinklers and then you're good to go and your farming life is so much easier. So yeah, don't ditch the watering can too soon in the game. And last but not least, while we're speaking of tools, is something that I have to admit, it's something that I still don't do because I'm not used to it. But in this game, in this story of season, we have a tool bag, which I know most of us are not used to this, but at any point in the game, you can just take your tool, put them back in your bag. So if you're not using, like I'm never using my watering can, I could just always leave it there. I like to keep all of my tools handy, but in reality, you can just put them there. So if you're mining or if you're doing whatever and you're gathering lots of resources, don't be shy, don't be afraid to just put your things in there. They're gonna stay there. Yeah, so don't forget to do that. I think that's quite helpful to know as well. Also, when I first started playing the game, it took me some time to realize that the tools were there, so I was looking for my tools quite a bit. So if you haven't started playing the game yet, so when you start, your tools will be there, so you'll have to take them out for the first time. Alright guys, so I think that's pretty much it for the 10 beginner mistakes to avoid in Story of Seasons Pioneers of Olive Town. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you did any of these mistakes, or let me know if this video was helpful. Also, if there's any mistakes or tips you want to share, feel free to leave them in the comments and help each other out. If there's anything you'd like me to cover about this game, feel free to let me know as well. And if you've enjoyed this video, feel free to click like and subscribe for more Story of Seasons content like this. And I'm gonna see you in the next video. Oh, and actually before we go, I just want to give you one little extra tip for those who decided to stay. One mistake, I guess, would be to sell these big or special version of the vegetables. So as you can see, if I put in the big seed maker a regular leek, I'm gonna put 2 and I'm gonna get 6 seeds, which is quite good. But if I put my big one in there, I'm gonna put 2 and I'm gonna get 18 seeds. So I try to always keep my big vegetables to make some seeds. As you can see, it's just big savings, and of course I'm gonna get 6-star seeds this time. So when these new leeks are gonna grow, I'm gonna get 10-star leeks, so it's gonna be even better. So I'm definitely gonna keep the big ones for that. And if you're wondering about how much money you can make with leeks in 4 days, right? They only take 4 days to grow. 200 if I sold these a little bit more, but I'm gonna keep them to make seeds and make even more money. But yeah, I think if you plant these all winter, you're gonna get rich by the end of the winter, so definitely keep that in mind. But yeah, alright, so that's gonna be pretty much it, guys, for today. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.